And we back, and we back, and we... Stanley Cup playoff predictions, round 2, Western Conference now. But before we get into those predictions, I have to take a moment, of course, shout out my lovely friends and sponsors at NerdTees, nerdtees.ca. Use that promo code BWFinest. Going to save you 15% at checkout. Free shipping in Canada on any order over, I believe, still $75. But again, free shipping in Canada, any order over that amount. If you're in the US, 2 clicks of a button, everything is in US dollars for you. You get a great conversion on the US dollar. Today's blend is Japanese Orange Cooler. It's a lovely, smooth tasting tea. There's all kinds of beautiful blends on nerdtees.ca. Something for everybody. Nerdtees.ca. Promo code BWFinest. Find yourself something to love, or find someone you love something to love. You can do it on nerdtees.ca. All right, Western Conference predictions for round 2. Like I mentioned, I only went 3-5 in round 1 in total. Went 2-2 in the Eastern Conference, means I only got one Western Conference team correct. That was the San Jose Sharks. I had the Sharks going over the Vegas Golden Knights. They did that in an exciting, electric Game 7 that I did not think they were going to win, because I didn't think, basically throughout the entire series, didn't think that the Sharks were the better hockey team. But they won the series. That's all that matters. San Jose, as the Pacific Division number 2 team, plays host to the West wildcard number 2 Colorado Avalanche, who obviously had a big upset in the first round by beating Calgary. And on the Central side of things, Central Division number 3 St. Louis Blues, with a huge upset in the first round. They are playing host to the West wildcard number 1 of the Dallas Stars. Let's start with that Pacific Division matchup. San Jose playing host to Colorado. Season series was swept by the San Jose Sharks. They won all 3 head-to-head matchups, and they outscored Colorado in those games 14-9. Brent Burns, of course, once again the leading scorer for the San Jose Sharks on the season. 16 goals, 67 helpers, 83 points. Nathan MacKinnon, Moosehead, Nova Scotia's own Nathan MacKinnon, leading the way for the Avalanche. A 99-point season for MacKinnon, including 41 goals. But neither one of those players, Brent Burns or Nathan MacKinnon, are leading playoff scoring for their team. Erik Karlsson for the San Jose Sharks, 9 assists in the first round. No goals, but 9 helpers with his 9 points, leads the way for San Jose. Mikko Rantanen, 5 goals, 4 helpers, 9 points. He leads the charge for the Avalanche. From the regular season, the San Jose Sharks held the advantage both in team goal differential per game and team shot differential per game. The Sharks scoring 0.37 more goals per game than they gave up. The Avalanche just 0.17, so about 0.2 of a goal per game edge there for the Sharks. In the shooting, it's much larger. San Jose outshot their opponents by an average of 4.7 shots per game in the regular season. Colorado just 0.7. But in these playoffs, that script has been flipped. The Colorado Avalanche have the edge in this series, in these playoffs so far, in terms of both goal differential per game and shot differential per game. And in terms of shots, it's a big one. The San Jose Sharks were not only outshot in that first round series, they were outscored. I would say San Jose was not the better team in that first round series. Colorado plus 1.2 goals per game in the Calgary series. San Jose minus 0.28. And in the shots, the gap gets even bigger. Colorado, 7.2 shots per game average more in that Calgary series than they allowed. San Jose minus 1.9. This is a huge edge for Colorado. Both of these teams remaining fairly consistent on the power play. San Jose, 23.6% in the regular season. That was 6th best in the NHL. In these playoffs, they're 23.5. That is number 6 among playoff teams, but look, they're keeping consistency throughout the playoffs from the regular season. Colorado, 22% on the power play in the regular season, 7th best in the NHL. 20% in these playoffs. That's good for number 9. But again, on the power play for both teams, fairly consistent. And while Colorado's penalty kill has also remained consistent, looking at 78.7% from the regular season, not great, only 25th best in the league. They're at 77.3 in these playoffs, so a little bit of a dip, but still, again, fairly consistent, not a great penalty killing team. The San Jose Sharks kind of fell off on the penalty kill in that first round. The regular season, they were 80.8%. That was middle of the pack in the league, number 15 overall. But in these playoffs, only 72.4%. So they have definitely dropped off on the penalty kill. Vegas was really able to take advantage of those opportunities. I say all that to say this. 2 pretty good power plays, 2 mediocre at best penalty kills. Special teams is going to be very important. Once again, putting a magnifying glass on the goaltending matchups in these series. Martin Jones for San Jose, the busier of the 2 goaltenders. Obviously, one only played 5 games, one went to a full 7. Martin Jones stopping 189 of the 209 shots he faced in that opening round series. Goals against average of 3.20 and a .904 save percentage. So not exactly the greatest numbers for Martin Jones. He did enough to win the series, facing about 30 shots a game. Philip Grubauer for Colorado really making a statement in that first round series, stopping 153 of 163 shots that he faced, goals against average of 1.90 and a save percentage of .939. He also faced more shots per game, facing about 33. Philip Grubauer definitely has the goaltending edge. And I think in most measurable ways, I honestly think the Avalanche have the edge here. Now, the X factor to me in watching this series, what I want to see is I want to see whether San Jose can figure out a way to stop the top weapons. So in that first round series with Vegas, San Jose allowed that Stone, Pacioretty, Stastny line, which is the second line for Vegas, but really the first line because they were the one that was really producing. They allowed that line to combine for 13 goals and 31 points in that 7-game series. They could not figure out a way to consistently quiet that top scoring line. On Colorado's side, Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon, which is just 2 players in 5 games, combined for 8 goals and 17 points. If San Jose cannot find a way to contain and shut down the nuclear weapons on offense that Colorado has, I think Colorado could walk away in this series. Ignoring the seeds for a second, this is a rested team with a goaltender that played very well with nuclear weapons on offense, and the Sharks barely got through that 7-game slugfest in the first round. How much do the Sharks have left? Official prediction, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the upset once again. I've got the Colorado Avalanche winning this series in 6 games, which means they win it on home ice in Game 6. Avalanche from Western Wildcard number 2 to the Western Conference Final. Why not? And our 4th and final matchup takes place in the Central Division bracket in the Western Conference. Central Division number 3, St. Louis Blues with the inside track to get to the Western Conference Final. They have to play the Dallas Stars, the other wildcard team in the West. Season series here was actually controlled by the underdog Dallas Stars. They won 3 of the 4 head-to-head matchups, also outscoring St. Louis 13-7, nearly doubling them up. Once again, Ryan O'Reilly, leading scorer for the St. Louis Blues in the regular season, 77 points, including 28 goals. Tyler Seguin leading the way for the Dallas Stars, a 33-goal campaign and 80 points. But much like most of the series in this second round, neither one of those players are leading their team in scoring in the playoffs. Alex Pietrangelo leading the way for St. Louis. He's got 6 helpers in these playoffs for 6 points. And Alexander Radulov, former Canadian, Alexander Radulov, 4 goals, 2 helpers for 6 points to lead the way for the Stars. Blues held a slight edge in the regular season in terms of goal differential per game. St. Louis scoring 0.3 more goals per game than they allowed. Dallas only scoring 0.11, so slight edge there to St. Louis. In these playoffs, that script has also been flipped. Dallas outscoring their opponents by 1 goal, even per game so far in these playoffs. St. Louis was even money in the first round. The exact same number of goals scored as goals allowed. They just happened to win the series. What has stayed the same, though, is the shot differential category. St. Louis also holding an edge there. St. Louis outshooting opponents by 3.2 shots per game on average this season. Dallas being outshot by almost a full shot per game at minus 0.9. In the playoffs, St. Louis has tightened up a little bit, still outshooting opponents by 1.9 shots per game. Dallas, however, being outshot by 3 full shots per game so far in these playoffs. Again, makes sense. If you're playing from a lead, you tend to get outshot as the team under you is trying to catch up. So it makes sense. It's a little alarming given that they were outshot on the season. Definitely something to pay attention to. The St. Louis power play and the Dallas penalty kill have really kicked things up a notch since the regular season. St. Louis on the power play, 21.1%. It was a top 10 power play this season. So far in these playoffs, they're 26.3%. They're top 5 in the playoffs. That power play is humming along very well. Dallas's penalty kill, which we talked about in the first round video, top 5 in the NHL this season, 82.8%. The Dallas Stars have not been scored on the penalty kill thus far in these playoffs. 100% on the kill. So if they can keep playing like that, even if they give up a power play goal here or there, if that penalty kill can keep on humming, they may just have the special teams edge in this series. On the opposite side of that, the Dallas power play versus the St. Louis penalty kill, both of those units have dropped off since the regular season. Dallas's power play, even 21% in the regular season, number 11 in the NHL this season. That has dropped down to 18.2% in the first round, only number 10 of the 16 playoff teams. St. Louis's penalty kill, top 10 in the NHL this season as well, 81.5% for number 9. That has dropped down to 78.6%, also number 9, but that's only out of 16 teams. Basically, I think the most interesting special teams battle in this series will be St. Louis's power play against Dallas's penalty kill. Taking a peek at the goaltenders now, for as good as Jordan Binnington has been in the second half of this season, I thought he only really had an average, relatively mediocre first round. He stopped 157 of 173 shots that he faced, only a 2.63 goals against average, and a save percentage under .910 at .908. He did enough to win, but I wasn't exactly blown away by the way Binnington played. Faced about 29 shots a game. Who I was blown away by, however, was Ben Bishop, because Ben Bishop faced a ton of rubber in the first round, 36 shots against per game. That is the highest number of any playoff team that made it to the second round. Gave up 36 shots a game against Bishop, and all he did was stop 206 of 218 shots for a goals against average of 1.9 and a save percentage of .945. You want to talk about who's got the goaltending edge in this series? The question answers itself. And that's exactly where I'm going for the X Factor, my X Factor, thing to watch in this series. Obviously, Ben Bishop was the busier goaltender of the two. He faced 45 more shots in the first round than Binnington did. I have to ask if the pressure of this situation is going to get to the younger goaltender faster. Ben Bishop has had playoff experience. He's an older veteran goaltender. He's been there before. He faced a ton of action in the first round and was up to the more than up to the challenge. So you got to wonder if the pressure gets to the younger goaltender long before it gets to Ben Bishop. I think it does. I didn't see anything overly special from the St. Louis Blues in the first round. I saw them win their series. They won their series when, technically, I guess they weren't supposed to, but they won their series. I didn't see anything remarkable out of them in the first round, and that is concerning because, they made the playoffs on this incredible heater at the end of the regular season, and it's like, okay, is that sustainable? I asked you that question in the round 1 video. It wound up being sustainable in the first round. Is it sustainable through the second round against a team that also had to go on a heater in the second half of the season to make the playoffs and was up to the challenge in the first round? We'll have to see, but official prediction from this guy in St. Louis, Dallas, I like the Western Conference wildcard team once again. I'm taking the Dallas Stars to win this series, and I've got Dallas winning this thing in 6 games like the Avalanche. I've got them winning it on home ice in Game 6. An all wildcard matchup in the Western Conference, Dallas and Colorado. That's your Western Conference final, according to me. There you go, folks. Those are your predictions for the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2019. Go over them here with you one more time. In the Eastern Conference, I've got the Bruins beating the Blue Jackets in 6 games, and I've got the Hurricanes upsetting the Islanders in a full 7-game series. Come to the Western Conference, I've got the Avalanche upsetting the San Jose Sharks in 6 games, and I've got the Stars upsetting the St. Louis Blues also in 6 games. We're in the books, folks. Thank you so much for watching. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, fueled as always by the great folks at Nerd Tees, and I don't have any left, so we're done with that. But I also said I was going to have a special announcement. I wiped the tea drops from my chin just to tell you I got another piece of content coming up for you before the end of the week. What could it be?